Chapter 14 is all about eliminating illegal activity. Nothing is potentially more destructive to the success of a building than allowing illegal activity to take place in it. Among the most prevalent illegal activities occurring in apartment buildings today are the possession and distribution of illegal drugs. But how do you go about eliminating drug dealings from your building? Begin by sharing your vision of a crime-free and safe property with your tenants. In fact, the best place to start is by sharing your vision with applicants. If you have been made aware of some problem tenants, let everyone know that it has come to our attention that certain tenants of the property may be involved in illegal activities, and that you will not allow such activities to continue. Ask for help from your tenants to rid the building of drug dealers and users. It is important for both a liability and safety standpoint that you don't name names or specific apartments that you feel are connected with illegal activities to anyone but law enforcement officials. I will say this again. It is very important from both a liability and safety standpoint that we do not name names or specific apartment units. It is important for the on-site managers and regional managers to be aware that the tenants who come with us first are not necessarily law-abiding tenants. So therefore, keep in mind that these tenants are not necessarily the ones we want to enlist in our campaign to improve the property. If a successful and highly profitable drug operation is headquartered out of one or more apartments in our apartment buildings, we can rest assured that the people running the operations are going to conduct some recognizances of their own. They're going to try to learn your plans to clean up the building. They're going to want to learn just how much we know about their business activities and who we think those dealers are. They'll do whatever they can to stay in business and confuse property managers and on-site managers. We need to be careful not to threaten anyone to their face. Remember, it is very important to keep our on-site managers and other tenants safe. These dangerous tenants can have weapons and a thriving business they want to preserve. A more sensible approach would be to make everyone aware of our sincere concerns via an open letter to all the residents of the building. Such a letter might look like this. This type of letter actually can work as a part of an integrated effort. You will need to be diligent and report any information you receive to the police. If a tenant provides you with information and asks for anonymity, you must comply and keep that individual's name out of all correspondence with police. You should also plan on sending variations on the letter every week or two until you have rid the building of the problem tenants. We will need to pay extra special attention to those tenants who have provided any information and appear trustworthy. Anyone who believes that you appreciate them will be more likely to cooperate in your efforts to rid the building of criminal activities. These same people, if included in the process, are more likely to write it out while together you rid the building of the drug dealers. When you achieve a victory, even if the eviction is a minor player in a drug operation, let everyone in the building know. Make sure you include the tenants in the good news and rejoice with them. This will help the spirits of the good tenants and offer them encouragement while having just the opposite effect on those who are part of the drug operation or friends of them. The following steps have been used successfully in a number of situations where drug dealers and drug dealings had occurred. The degree of success that you can expect is dependent upon how much time and effort you and those who join you in the effort invest in it. Step 1. The lease agreement must contain language that states very clearly that possession, sales, or use of illegal drugs inside the apartment or within the immediate area around the building is forbidden and represents a major lease violation. The language within the lease should also state that any action that support any such activities are also serious lease infractions. Step 2. Educate all our existing tenants, both residential and commercial, about the consequences of dealing drugs, using drugs, or participating in drug trafficking activities. Create a flyer that states in simple language that any such illegal activity will result in an eviction proceeding. Make it clear that the sale or use of drugs by a 15-year-old youth who resides in an apartment will result in the eviction of not only the 15-year-old, but everyone who resides in the apartment, as an example. Step 3, get the names, including nicknames, of all legal residents of the building. Obtain birth dates and get current photographs of all legal residents. Put together a book listing by address and apartment numbers so that we have the names of every resident of the building along with their photograph. This information will be most helpful to the police. And on-site managers, this is one of the main reasons we request a driver's license every single time. Screening of all new residents of the property must be diligently applied to everyone who makes an application. We must always do credit checks, check with previous landlords, and we always want to check with 2 previous landlords because the current landlord might be wanting to get rid of that tenant. Perform home visits and check report cards and attendance records of all school-aged children who are to reside in your apartment. You may want to consider running a police background check or a drug screening test. We always go to the California Supreme Court and always check their criminal and civil background to see any of the prior legal action against them or initiated by them. It is very important to know. Step 5, keep all of the doors of the buildings locked. If the drug dealers break the locks, fix them immediately. Give a set of keys to all exterior locks to the police. Make sure all the building entries have a clearly marked street address and that all apartments have clearly marked apartment numbers on the doors. This will aid greatly in identifying which entry or apartments are involved. On some occasions, we have even met with the police on a weekly basis to clean apartment buildings from this type of drug use. Step 6. This is very important and I think a very simple solution that is sometimes overlooked. Keep all common areas and exterior lights in good working condition. Make sure the lights come on at dusk and continue burning until dawn. Adjust timers as the days shorten. If these are dark areas in the building or on the exterior of the buildings, add lights. Drug dealers and their customers obviously prefer darkness. Bright lights discourages them. Similarly, we must add cameras. Cameras are the #1 way to fight crime. Step 7, survey your building for unused or dead space that might lend themselves to use in a drug business. This could include stairwells, space under porches, small triangular areas that nobody uses, etc. Any of these areas can be walled off or fenced off without compromising safety. In addition, you may want to consider any of these steps. Add tamper alarms to emergency-only exits. Install plywood barriers blocking off space under the first floor stairs to prevent this space from being utilized by dealers and their customers. Install motion detectors that trigger lights in any infrequently used indoor areas. Keep surveillance cameras always in good working conditions. Install gates and access control. Install 6 to 8 foot fences around the property. Plant bougainvillea and other similar plants around the property with thorns. And keep all area of the building clean and odor-free. Most people will avoid dirty and smelly areas except for drug dealers and their customers. Step 8, learn the names of your community outreach officers. Share the name and telephone numbers of the community officers with the employees and tenants of your building and encourage them to talk and cooperate with these officers. If necessary, set weekly or monthly meetings with the community outreach officer to ensure the community improves. Sometimes it might be worthwhile providing a unit dwelling to the police. This way, the police can help surveillance the property. Step 9, report all crime, including vandalism, to the police. Keep a record of every time you call the police with details of the incident that you called about. Note how quickly police respond, the name of the officers, and what, if any, solution was created. Share any and all videos with the police on a regular basis. On-site managers and regional managers, please don't forget to write down police numbers. Some cities at the moment are undersourced and request that we do the police reports ourselves online. Even if it's for a very simplistic vandalism situation, please create these police reports. Please reach out to the police and do the best to help our communities thrive. Step 10, create coalitions. If a tenants association exists in your building or in an adjacent building, enlist their support in the fight against crime. Get to know the janitors and the workers for the building next door, across the street, or behind your building, and ask for their assistance in keeping an eye out for and reporting crime. If there is a community activist or crime watch group, you may want to enlist them to assist you as well. Step 11, get good information for the police to use, particularly videos. Reduce to writing everything you and your associates have learned about a drug dealing operation. The type of information that has proven to be very helpful includes any of the following: the busiest time of the day or week for these type of activities, which apartments are involved, what activities are being conducted in these apartments, description of the drug dealers, description of the drug dealer customers, identities of lookouts and their locations, whether or not weapons are being used, code words, whistles, or signals being used, the exact location of drug dealing, the manner in which drugs are being exchanged for money. Step 12. This is a very important step. Don't be a hero, and make sure your employees know not to be heroes themselves. We must avoid verbal confrontation with drug dealers, and we cannot threaten them or tell them that we're going to put them out of business. Let's be smart and let's keep our people safe. Step 13, let's get to know our neighbors. Most drug dealers want to stay in the area where they have established their business. If they have been evicted or are in the process of being evicted by another landlord in your neighborhood, your neighbor landlord can help you learn in advance that the dealers will be looking for a new location to set up business, so we can avoid renting to them. Having good communication and good amicable relationships with our community and our neighbors is essential, even if it's not to fight crime. Step 14, keep our vacant apartments well secured and accessible only to authorized personnel. It is a good idea to check these vacant apartments at least weekly to make sure no one has broken into them from adjoining apartments. Step 15, it is essential to have a good attorney who has experience and successful track record in representing landlords in evictions of tenants involved in the drug trade. Don't assume that if any attorney can successfully evict a person for non-payment of rent, that such success will translate into a victory of drug dealing. Ask for references and details on cases similar to yours. Step 16, when the time comes to evict a dealer, include every apartment where the illegal activity occurs or is somehow supported in your eviction filings. What good is it to evict one apartment if 4 or 5 are involved? Wouldn't it be easy for the dealer to move the business elsewhere in the building if you allowed that luxury by not evicting participating associates in the building? Step 17. After the eviction takes place, be prepared for dealers to try to get back to you and your building. After all, this is where their customers know how to come and buy drugs. Unlike the dry cleaner that moved down the street, these drug dealers cannot put up a sign in the window indicating that they're relocating to a new business address. You may wish to execute an agreement that authorizes the police department to enter your property to enforce no trespassing laws. This is very critical in these type of situations. We will need to properly post the building with signs stating criminal trespassing is prohibited and no loitering. Attached is a sample letter authorizing the police to enter your building for this purpose. And that is it for illegal activity. Just on-site managers, regional managers, for the sake of you and our tenants, and do not try to confront these people yourselves. But let's all be smart and work together with the police to get these people out in accordance to the law.